Houston's loft. In Austin, I stalled, pause. My eyes crawl to a table. Paralyzed by pairwise dice, then attend to this heaven slice of an angel wrapped in skin. Throw dice at woes of life. Love deprived, looking to revive. What's the meaning of life? One subjective paradise. Crystal chandeliers, motives reflected. Often mirrors a pit, clear, grinning from ear to ear. Craving and raving and grain, rekindle the flame. Closer she draws near. Stay there, remove your underwear, shove it somewhere over there. In paradise, we know our purpose. In paradise, we know what our worth is. In paradise, we manifest dreams.
Hey, hello everybody, and welcome to the Unpopular Hour Women Only Wednesday. We had a good show today. Of course, I'm your host, Matt Clark. We had a good show today. We're going to be talking about some NFL football, some stuff that's going on. Of course, the NBA. And then, of course, the NCAA, the the mess that they're calling the NIL. So, anyway, we're going to start out with the NFL. We're going to start out with Ryan Tannehill and all the people getting on him about what he said about Malik Willis and how he is not his job to mentor Malik. Well, it's really not. Ryan has one of, 30 jobs. He is fighting for his life after the debacle that he had last year. Because let's face it, you have the number one overall seed, and you get upset, and the team you're playing against, the quarterback gets sacked 9 times, but you threw 3 interceptions, including the one that got the game winner to get your team beat at home. And he admits that he, had to go get some mental help, and I'm sure he did, because doing something like that, knowing that you cost your team, you were the number one seed, and you cost your team a chance to go to the Super Bowl because you threw a dumb pick. So I can understand that. And then on the side of that, I don't see anything wrong with what he said. It's not like, he's got a huge contract, and he's in the last years of his deals, and he's about to fade away, and kind of like Alex Smith saw the writing on the wall. He brought Patrick Mahomes. When the Chiefs brought Patrick Mahomes, Alex Smith mentored him for a year knowing that he was going to get another job. I don't think Ryan Tannehill's in the same spot that Alex Smith was. So, basically what he said is, he can sit next to me, whatever, I'm going to, help him out here and there. But am I going to mentor him to take my spot? No. I'm getting paid 27, 28 million, whatever it is. I'm not going to lose that. I'm not going to take a chance to get cut because unlike NFL, like other sports, they don't really give guaranteed contract except what Cleveland did to Deshaun Watson, guaranteeing all $200 million, whatever, something what it was idiotic what they did, and the other owners are pissed at them about it, but they did what they had to do to get Deshaun. Now, is everybody else going to get guaranteed contracts the whole time? No, that's not going to happen. NFL is the NFL, and they're not going to do that. So I have zero issues with what he did. It had nothing to do with the color of his skin, Malik's skin, or anything like that. It's preservation for Ryan Tannehill. What is Tannehill, 33, 34? So his deal is, I am taking care of me and my family. Now, am I going to just totally kick this guy to the curb? No. Am I going to help him? No. Am I going to, if he needs some advice here and there? Yes. But am I going to sit down and go, hey, bro, this is what you do. This is how this works. This is how that works. No. He's going to have to figure that out on his own. Now, is Malik the future of Tennessee? Possibly, but we don't know what kind of quarterback he's going to be. We'll get to see him in the preseason, but that means absolutely nothing. But we'll get to see him and see what kind of player he is, but that goes without saying. We'll see what happens. Okay? We'll see what happens. But, yeah, I have zero issues with what Ryan Tannehill did, not wanting to mentor him. Now, he did say, let's reiterate now, he did say that, is he going to, sit next to him, talk to him about stuff? Sure. But is he going to be like his mentor? What a mentor does is a mentor keeps you from all the pitfalls. Hey, this is going to happen. Watch out for this. This is going to happen. Watch out for that. You want to do this. You want to stay away from that. You want to stay. He ain't going to do all that. Now, will he help him with the playbook and all that? Anything to help the team as far as the offense and stuff sure. But to actually be his mentor and to say, hey, watch out for this. Do that. Do that. This is this. This is that. He's not going to do that. I have zero issues with that. And that leads him to the Browns and Baker. Once again, here we go with the Baker Mayfield saga. My issue with the Browns is very simple. You don't want to pay Baker. You said you don't want to pay him his full salary of 18, what 18.8, whatever 19 million, whatever it is. You don't want to pay him. Fine, you don't have to pay him. But at the other side of that, you're keeping him around even though you have Deshaun Watson, which we know Deshaun's not going to play for a minimum of 6 to 8 games. Now, some people are saying that I've heard today on some shows that they think he may be suspended for a whole year. That ain't cool. How you gonna suspend a guy for a whole year for something he hasn't even been convicted of? And who knows what he's gonna win. But now, granted, is it what he did bad? I don't know. I don't. 22 women. That's a lot of women. So there's got to be some smoke somewhere in there. Now, do I believe he probably did it to all of them? Yeah, probably not. Some of them are glory hunting, and especially that attorney. He's definitely glory hunting. But on the other side of that, it's kind of despicable that he would do what he did. But once again, it's being entitled, thinking you can do whatever you want, thinking whatever women are objects, women can do, whatever you think they should be able to do because you are who you are. Doesn't work like that. As I've said many times before, there's a lot of women who say no and mean it yes. But for the women who say no as in no, then some guys can't distinguish between no and no. I have been victim of knowing what's no and no. There's girls that are saying no, but yet they're taking the clothes off, and then there's girls that are saying no, and they're like, yeah, no, we're not doing this. Oh, okay. And as a reasonable person, you've got to figure that out, just like I did. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm sorry, didn't know which no you were, no or no yes or no. So that has a lot to do with it, and I think Deshaun, being who he is, he tended to be. Well, I'm the quarterback of Houston. I'm gonna do what I want. You gotta do what I want because I'm who I am. And then some women will say, will capitulate even though they really don't want to, and some are like, no, whatever. But that's between them, and only he and her actually know what really, really, really happened in that situation. So for him to get suspended for a whole year, no, I disagree with that. Does he need to get hit with suspension? No question. You got to have consequences for your actions if you're going to be put yourself in that situation and do the things you did. There's got to be some sort of consequences, and you do need to get suspended, whether it's 4 games, 6 games, 8 games, whatever it is. But a full year, I think that's ridiculous if you do that. And on the side with the Browns, uh, I've always thought, knowing that when you did this, you should have went to Baker and said, "Hey, listen, we're going to keep you around. What we're going to do is Deshaun's going to miss these first 4, 6, 8 games. So we're going to keep you around. We're going to let you play, which gives you teams to see how good you've actually changed, how you've gotten better, and gives the teams that looks at you, which will give you a better, more trade value, more opportunity for some team to want to get you because what you have on tape is you've had really one good year. Really, you won a year and a half, and you've won one playoff game on a team that was stacked. And then last year you bet on yourself. Clearly that was a mistake. And you should not have played hurt. I think if you went ahead and got your surgery, you probably would still be QB1 for the Browns. And they would have been still offering you some contract, even though I think what you think you're worth and what they think you're worth were far apart. So anyway, that's kind of how I feel about it. But the Browns not wanting to pay any of Baker's salary, that's idiotic. And teams aren't going to come in and want to do that. I think that's wrong of the Browns. And I think that's just crazy. Now, as far as NCAA and NIL, they're wanting to put a task force together. And Coach Stoops, who I really admire, I love Coach Stoops. In fact, I'm going to see if I can talk to my boys and try to get Coach on so he can talk about his views on what he thinks the NIL did and what he thinks what the leadership council or leadership group needs to consist of because the NCAA has zero leadership. All they want to do is do the NCAA Final Four, make $1 billion, whatever they're making. For them to do what they did to OSU is idiotic. They need to just revamp the people in charge and go, okay, here we're going to do this. You're in charge of this. How do you not have a football commissioner and a basketball commissioner? How do you not have commissioners that run the different sports and they're in charge of that sport? They don't have that. And how did you not see this coming down the pike? When you lost the battle for name and likeness, where people can make money, and you saw YouTube and all these stuff, and these kids have 100,000 followers and all that, and if you think they weren't going to make money off that, what that says to me is you got a whole bunch of old dudes sitting up in their ivory tower that are out of touch with social media and what's happening, and are going to sit back and smoke their cigars and drink their whiskey and go, let's get paid off our money and whatever. This is going to fix itself. Well, no, it wasn't going to fix itself. Things are changing. It's just like with what we're doing here with MC Sports Network. We're trying to change people from podcasts to live streams. Now, podcasts going to be around, yeah. But what we're trying to do is open up live streaming and teach people about live streaming, where you can go and you can interact with people on live. You can get your stuff done. You can watch and see it on live instead of just listening to it on radio. So we're trying to change the mindset, because the difference between live stream and podcast is simple. If I make a mistake now, you see it. It's right there for you. If I say something bad or I make a mistake, I can't go back and take back what I said. What I said is what I said. What happened is what happened. Like yesterday, we were doing the show from Georgia's Happy Hog, and my good friends at YNB, they're gracious enough to be our sponsor, and we'll talk about that, about sponsoring black and minority-owned businesses, and we're going to be going to those once a week. And yesterday we were at Georgia's. Well, me fumbling and bumbling trying to, do their intro to the YNB, the bank family owned and operated since 1912, the bank that makes things happen. Couldn't say that yesterday for some unknown reason. Now, podcast, I've been able to retake it, make it sound perfect. But that's what I like about live stream. You can mess up a little bit and it's okay. People can see your reaction when you mess up. It's not like on radio, can't see your reaction unless they're in person. But on live stream, I screw up, you get to see my reaction and what I do. But anyway, I'd like to have Coach Stoops on for him to talk about what the NIL and what the leadership is. And that's what needs to happen, in my opinion, is that they need to have a group, but they should have had this a long time ago. They could just said, okay, NIL, this is what it is. This is what you're going to do. This is how far you can go. Here's your individual teams. Like, you're going to get mad at Miami because that guy's sitting there saying, hey, we're going to put them all on salary. Okay, why are you mad about that? That was inventive. Great way to look at it. He can put all these guys on salary, pay them whatever. Hey, takes the heat off the university from books and tuition, which I think is ridiculous, because those of you who are athletes like me had guys on your team who showed up. Like, we had one guy, he showed up, all he had was one or two pairs of jeans, a windbreaker, not even a big coat. Really? Bro, this is Oklahoma. This is not the South. So what do these guys do? How do they eat? When back then we were staying in the dorm, well, on Sunday nights, the dorm cafeteria was not open. How do you eat? And if you don't get there at a certain time, there's been times that Coach Hansen had us late for practice. Well, if you don't get to the meal by a certain time, 7 o'clock, hey, you don't get to eat. Well, if we get done at practice at 6:30, but trying to take a shower and try to get over to the gym, you miss dinner, then what? You have no money because they can't give you any money. So what do you do? But anyway, I'd like to get Coach Stoops on. We're going to try to make that happen and talk about that. So, but we are going to have some different things and different deals that are coming in the future with the Unpopular Hour. Like, we're going to be going out, we're going to be doing remotes, not only in black and minority business, but like I said, we're going to go see my boy Ned Shattuck over at Ned's Starlight Lounge. If you haven't eaten there, my God, it's fantastic food up to, top to bottom. Now, of course, I'm a big fan of his wings, dry rub. Huge fan of his dry rub onion rings, and definitely a huge fan of their fried chicken. But that bacon cheeseburger, oh my God. In fact, I need to go get one of those. And then, of course, my guy Bruce Reinhardt over at Rococo's. So we're going to go over there, we're going to do that stuff, and we may even go to one of my favorite places. And that will be Flips, but I got to talk to my boy Shannon about that. So anyway, I'd like to thank our newest sponsor, YNB, family owned and operated since 1912, the bank that makes things happen. Now, you can go pre-qualify online at www.ynbok.com. Now, you can go qualify for a car loan or home loan or whatever it is that you want to do, but I highly recommend that you go to www.ynbok.com for YNB, the bank that makes things happen. And those are great people over there. They also have, not only in Yukon, but they do have a location, YNB People's National Bank on 23rd, just west of MacArthur, between MacArthur and Rockwell. So, by the way, there's a Brahms right down the street from that. Brahms. That's a good idea. Maybe a sponsorship there. But anyway, let's talk about the NBA last night. Let's look at the semi scores last night that would happen, of course. Golden State Warriors lost to the Grizzlies 101 106. The Bucks lost to the Celtics 86 to 109. And, starting out with Golden State and the Grizzlies, Dylan Brooks, of course, smashed uh, GP2, Gary Payton II, over the head. And I was listening to Skip Bayless. I saw him for 2 seconds. I listened to his opening because Shannon Sharp talked, and Skip just went off talking about, last night I tweeted that wasn't a flagrant two. Bro, you're getting old, so you're trying to say whatever to get people like, did you hear what he said? So people can go out and listen to you and follow you and whatever. That's why you did it. There's no way any rational person didn't think, A, that was a retaliation for what Draymond did the game before against Brandon Clark. No question about that. Two, there's no question that he didn't go with the intention of hurting him. No question about that. Third, did he wind up and smack him across the head and was trying to do a hard foul? No question about that. Should he have got suspended? No question about that. That is what the true definition of a flagrant two is. What Draymond did the game before that, I still believe, man, you did what you did, but your reputation, had it not been for your reputation, you probably would have got a flagrant one. And they grabbed him because he grabbed him by the jersey. To me, the slap, he just slapped down. He happened to hit him in the face. That happens. I've hit people in the face before slapping at the ball. I've been hit many times in the eye, in the face, lip, many times been getting hit because somebody was slapping at the ball. That's a basketball play. It happens. But when Draymond grabbed his jersey, now he did hold him up. He could have snapped. If he just slammed him down, then flagrant two, no doubt. But he just grabbed him, pulled him down, sending a message. What Dylan Brooks last night, yeah, we're the young team. I'm sending a message. But, dude, if you didn't play sports, and especially basketball, the code is if you're up in the air, you don't take a person's legs out. You don't, because you're defenseless. You're in the air. You don't know how you're going to come down. You don't do that. Like I said, my second point. Did I think Dylan Brooks was trying to take him out? No. I mean, hurt him? No. But you can see when he came down, he had his arm straight, just like when you're trying to brace your fall, and busted his elbow because his arm was straight. All of his weight came down. Now, the question is, what is the retribution? Grayson Allen, he got what? 1 game, 2 games, or whatever it was for what he did. So, to me, it's like, what do you say? How do you put that down? What do you do for that? And to me, it's just really, really simple, is that you have to send a message here. And I saw something what Colin was talking about. He was talking about how the NFL does preseason games, so they set the tone. Oh, this is how we're going to call the rules this year. Gives every chance to settle in. Basketball, you don't have that. But that play right there, and also what Dipshit did to Alex Caruso, I think those are plays that you should miss games. Dylan Brooks, you didn't mean to hurt him. I agree. Grayson Allen, you're dirty, just period. You're just a dirty player. Dylan Brooks, to me, was doing one simple thing. He was trying to send a message. Now, he went about it completely wrong. Completely wrong. But definitely he needs to get suspended for at least 1 game. Because they've got to let him know, hey, all that stuff y'all doing, that's got to stop. If you want a hard foul, you want to play physical, that's fine. But I agree with Steve Kerr. You broke the cardinal rule of basketball, of players. You don't go after someone when they're in the air. You have no idea how they're going to come down. I have a good friend that played at KU. We played at KU. my freshman year. I went up, I saw him coming. I went, oh, I got to dunk on this guy. He's going to try to block my shot. And when I pulled back, he went, oh, no, he's going to dunk on me. And when he turned, boom, he hit my feet. I came down, back of my head, concussion. Don't remember the day. Don't remember the play. Only reason why I know what happens is because I saw it on film. Don't remember the play, hyperextended my knee. And here are our friends now. So that particular play and what happened in that instance is like you're in the air and he was trying to get out of the way, but by getting out of the way, he caught me, hurt me. Same thing here. GP2 up in the air, Dylan was just trying to come across and foul him real hard. He wasn't trying to, hurt him in any kind of way. I don't believe that. I didn't see that, but did he wind back and he wanted to foul him hard? There's no question. And we talk about the 80s. Jordan, he had to live through that on a daily basis. When he played Boston, Philly, Detroit, hey, that was what was going to happen. You're going to get the crap beat out of you. That was 80s basketball. Okay? This is not 2020s. Can't do the same thing you did back when we played. It's not the same thing. It's not the same era. Are we tougher? No, we're not necessarily tougher, but that's just, you were geared. You knew what was going to happen. But still, they really didn't go after you when you were in the air. They fouled you so that you would come down hard or whatever. But except for Kurt Rambis, when he got clotheslined by arguably Kevin McHale, arguably to me second or third greatest power forward in the history of the game, clotheslined him and could have hurt Kurt Rambis. But guess what he got? A regular foul. Didn't get ejected. Now today's game, that would have been a flagrant 2. He'd have been gone. So to me, Dylan Brooks, for sure you deserve a flagrant 2. I think you need to get 1 game suspension just to let them know, hey, that kind of stuff is unacceptable. It needs to send some sort of message out there. Now, is Golden State going to come back and retaliate? Nah, they're not going to come back and retaliate. They're too smart. They're too seasoned. They're too much of a veteran team to do that. Now, let's move on to Milwaukee and the Celtics. What a great game that was, I thought, for the Celtics. But you know what? This is interesting. Jaylen Brown was out there 3 hours before, 3.5 hours, whatever it was before the game, at 3 o'clock, whatever it was, shooting. And I'm thinking, why aren't you always 3 or 4 hours out there before the game shooting? Kobe, Michael, all the great ones, Steph Curry, they're all out there 2-3 hours way in advance taking shots. Oh, because you had a horrible shooting game the game before, now you're going to get out there and shoot it. Why aren't you that every game? Before every game? Why aren't you out taking those shots before every game? Because this is what happens when you prepare. When you go out and you take shots, you get ready. You're ready to go. Your shot is on. Your form is there. Why are you just not doing that one game? But I do believe when you look at Giannis, he scored 38% the last 2 games. He shot 38% the last 2 games. Oh, well, let's do one more point. Oh, by the way, we'll go back to Golden State one more time. They were 7 for 36 from 3 and lost by 5. How do you think that's going to happen the rest of the series? They barely beat him. Ja had to have this superhuman deal for 74. What did he shoot? 46. Ja made what? 47 points. They're not going to go 7 for 36. But I look at Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. They had to have that. They went for 30 and 29. They have to do that every game, and they're capable. But like I said, with jump shooting teams, that's what happens. You have to have somebody else. And Marcus, being the defensive player of the year, was hurt. A bruised thigh, didn't get a chance to play. But I want to say the Celtics did a great job the last 2 games against Giannis. The first game, those guys are knocking down shots like crazy. This game, they weren't. And if you don't have Grayson Allen and those guys knocking down threes, Giannis shooting 38% is not going to get it done. Just like I don't think Luka is going to get it done scoring 45 and being a single person like that. It just doesn't happen. It really doesn't. You can't have a guy that's that ball dominant the whole time, doesn't distribute, that's going to be able to, his team wins. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. But that being said, What a game it was. Now let's go look at the scores for the Golden State game. Thompson had 12, Wiggins had 16, Curry 27, Poole 20, and Clay was just atrocious in his shooting percentage. The Grizzlies, on the other hand, Jackson had 12, Ja had 47, Williams 14, Clark 10. But Ja was just absolutely fantastic at the end of the game, and what a game that he actually did have. I was really, really impressed with the way he played. Giannis, 28, Porter's 13, Holiday 19, Connaughton 19. And one thing we don't see is Grayson Allen's name in there. Remember in the first series that he did, they just won. He had what? He had 49 points in 2 games, 50 something points in 3 games, whatever it was. Nowhere to be seen. Celtics, Tatum 29, Horford 11, Williams 10, Rob Williams, Brown 30, Greg Williams 21. Look at that squad. 5 guys in double figures, everybody doing what they needed to do. And that's what made the difference in that ball game. Right there is all those guys scoring. So, anyway, all right, let's take a break. Here are our sponsors. I want to thank my guys over at Collaborative Logic for doing what they do. We had some issues. That's why we're a little late today. Those guys are fantastic. If you have any IT needs, those guys are the guys to call, and they will take care of any needs that you have for your ITs. Of course, SRB and our engineering, surveying, and planning group, Oak Grove Trucking. If you need anything hauled off, call our boy over at Jose, and of course, NAFCO, my boys Greg and Max Nafy at NAFCO. So, anyway, hold on, take this break, and we'll be right back. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Unpopular Hour Women Only Wednesday. Of course, I'm your host, Matt Clark, and we're talking some NBA basketball. Of course, you know how much I love me some basketball, and I love the NBA. Like I said, it was my favorite time of the year because you had March Madness, you had the NFL draft, you have playoff basketball, baseball starts. This is the best time of year for me as far as I'm concerned. I really, really, really love this time of year, and it's exciting for sports and for those who are sports related. So let's go look at the playoff bracket. And when you look at the bracket, you can see right here Phoenix and Dallas, the series tied 1-all. Golden State and Memphis 1-1. We knew that Memphis was going to come back, and we just talked about that game earlier. Miami and Philly 1-1 there. Excuse me, 1-0. Miami's up 1-0. And Milwaukee, Boston, what a game that was. So when we talk about the games today, we have the Mavericks and the Suns. Suns, of course, are up 1-0. The Sixers and the Heat. The Heat's up 1-0. When you look at this matchup right now, and I'm looking at it, and the Suns, they seem to be rolling right now. The Mavericks really don't have an answer for Deion Ayton in the middle. Then, of course, the way that Chris Paul runs the offense, Devin Booker now healthy again, seems like the Suns may be a little hard for the Mavericks to handle, especially if Luka is just going to try to beat him by himself and score 45 or 47. He's not going to be able to do it. He's going to have to be able to get everybody else involved. He needs to average around 30-something points a game, get everybody else and have some other people there. And we did yesterday we did uh, the score table as far as what everybody did yesterday. So we had that on. But anyway, the Sixers or the Mavericks, Luka's going to have to be less ball dominant. I mean, still be ball dominant, but he's got to be able to pass the ball. He's got to get everybody else involved. Brunson has to have more shots. He has to score more points. He's got to get more involved. Dinwiddie is Dinwiddie. He's going to do what he do. He's a third guy anyway. And Kleiber, he's knocking down shots, but he just can't handle Deion Ayton in the middle, and that's really hurting him. But Ayton is quick enough and more athletic enough that he can get out and guard the pick and roll, get out there on Kleiber, and help also inside the paint. And Phoenix does a great job of sliding over. The Suns do a fantastic job of sliding over, rotating their defensive sets and half court offense and their half court defense. Sixers and Heat, fantastic. I love what I see right there between the Sixers and the Heat. Uh, what a joke. I was kidding. I don't love what I see right there because you have James Harden, and it's just frustrating to me uh, to see James because James is one of those guys. He's having fun. He wants to live the nightlife. He wants to go to strip clubs. He wants to party. He wants to have fun. And then he was at Houston, which if you lived in Houston, they've got a lot. Their nightlife is pretty good in Houston. Uh, Live there, completely get it. I understand how tempting it is to do what he does in Houston or did in Houston. But eventually, if you're not working on your game to uh, to cover that up, or at least because the one thing about Michael Irvin, he used to party and run. I mean, just go hard. But his work ethic, as far as he was never out of shape, he was always the first guy finished. Dennis Rodman, the same thing. They worked their butts off. They played hard. They partied hard, but they played hard. They did not cut you short when it came to it. Now James Harden, you see him, he's out there looking for Kyle. He got that little slow move. Hey, all these guys watch tape now. They know what you're doing, James. He's too slow. He can't get by because he's out of shape. He didn't get in shape, and he had worked on his game. He has the same little step back, a little hesitation. Like this one play, like I said yesterday. He catches the ball, he's right there in the elbow, and nobody's over, and he just decides to step back and try to do his step back, patting it three and shot in the crack. Bro, just take the mid-range. You're right there, shoot the mid-range. But I think the pressure is getting to James. And then, like I said yesterday with Tyrese Maxey, when he and James came out of the game, James sat down, and there was one spot right there, but it was kind of tight. Maxey went down a set where there was three people. There was three spots. James sat down next to Maxey. And then the Maxey moved, and I was like, oh, he's going to slide over. He wants a little bit more room. He got up and went and sat where James sat. And I don't know why the media isn't talking about it. They're talking about all the nonsense. Dude, that's huge right there. How do you miss that? How do you not see that? How do you not comment on that? How do you not comment on the fact that he got up and moved away from James? That says a lot about what's going on in their locker room simply by the actions of what he did. And nobody saw that, nobody responds to that, nobody acts on that. How do you miss that? I didn't. I'm like, wow, really? Man, I thought that was pretty tough. So I think the Sixers are in trouble in-house. James has got to shoot more than 13 times a game. He was averaging 19 shots when he was in Houston. Now he's shooting 13 times. You got to shoot more than that, bro. You got to average more shots than that. You just got to. You can't come down and shoot that. You're now the guy. So what it looks like to me is you're now, turning into a facilitator and moving yourself back from the second option to the third. So now it's Harris, Maxey, you. So when Embiid comes back, is it going to be Embiid, Harris, or Maxey, and then you? Are you not a third or fourth option now? They're paying you how many millions? 40 what? And you're not going to even step up? He has to step up tonight. He's got to have a big game. Got to. Because if he doesn't, it's like I said, I saw somebody else, they were double teaming him. PJ Tucker knows how to play him. Yeah, but James is just standing over there, being a decoy. Well, you don't have Embiid to go to work. That means you should know how to PJ Tucker plays. You should know how to get fouls on him. You should know how to get around him. He knows your game. You don't know his. Well, you're not paying attention when he played with you. The one thing about being a student of the game, you study people. Here's his tendencies on defense. Here's his tendencies on offense. This is how I do this. This is how I get around him. That's how you do it. Are you saying you're not studying, you're not paying attention? Or are you just trying to get to the strip club or the bar? Bro, really? And we think about that. Oklahoma City Thunder. You had Harden, Westbrook, Ibaka, and Durant. And only one of those guys are really even worth a quarter. That's Durant. The one guy that you picked Westbrook over. Your best player that you had, you didn't notice that or didn't realize he was the best player. On the other side of that, Kevin Durant, you have to step up and be an alpha. That ain't his personality. He's just not a confrontational type guy. Clearly. He let Westbrook run over him, didn't say nothing about that. By the way, did you see him in his dress last night at the Met? Dude, you wore a skirt. Nobody, guys aren't, that's not fashionable. You're not going to have, I mean, I'm going to get off that. Anyway, I'm going to go back to the bracket. I'm going to look at that. I'm going to break this down a little bit. When I look at the bracket, Phoenix and Dallas, I think Phoenix goes 2-0 tonight. Mavericks are gonna have a big. I'm gonna have to see how they play tonight, so I can make a determination on what's gonna happen in Game 3. The Golden State Warriors in Memphis. I don't see Golden State going 7 for 36 from three at home. I think Golden State comes back to Memphis. Memphis will be down 3-1. Uh, Miami and Philly. Tonight, after tonight, I'll be able to make an educated guess. Depends on what James Harden does. If he's doing what he always does in the playoffs and disappears, then I think Miami will probably sweep them or go 3-1, depending on if Embiid comes back for Game 3. I hope that's the only saving grace. Now, Doc Rivers said he is progressing, and so we will see how that works. Because 2-0 ain't that really big of a deal with Embiid. You can do some work. You can go down 2-0. You go back and win two games at home, get 2-2, and all you got to win is at that point, then it's about winning 5, 6, 7. So it's winning two out of the last three. So you can get that done if you can get the series tied at 2-all and at least make it something. Milwaukee, Boston. I think that series is going to go like crazy. But Game 3 is really going to determine. I think Boston knows what they have to do. Milwaukee's going to have their guys at home, so they'll be able to make some shots. But uh, if Jalen Brown and Jason Tatum are going, if they're hitting on all cylinders, I don't think Milwaukee has a prayer. That's the reason why they beat them 3-1 or 4 or whatever it was this year. 3-1, I believe it was this year, because they can't. They have nothing to defend with those two, especially when both of those guys are going. There's nothing you can do with Boston, but those guys have to be going full speed and have to be on the fly for Boston to get it done. So, if I had my early guesses, Phoenix against Golden State in the conference finals, and Miami against Boston. I'm gonna go on live, even though I'm not a Boston fan. I'm gonna go on, but it's gonna depend on what happens. I think Game 3 or Game 4 is gonna determine. I'm really gonna be able to have a better feel for that. But for right now, just off the top of my head, looking at it after these first couple games, I'm gonna take Phoenix against Golden State and Miami against Boston. That's who I'm gonna take. So it'll be one against three and one against two, going to the semifinals. And then of that, I think Phoenix and Golden State, man, that's gonna be tough. Depends on. I just don't think Golden State has an answer for 8 in the middle. Everything else is pretty simple. Both of them can shoot threes. Chris Paul is just so freaking smart, but I think Phoenix is on a mission from last year. And then I think Miami against Boston. I don't know if Miami has enough horses to handle Boston. So if I had to look at it just now off the top of my head, I think Phoenix against Boston. And then Phoenix, of course, beats Boston in the finals. Chris Paul gets his ring, gets his chip. So I think that's kind of how I look at that. But anyway, I want to thank, like I said, my newest sponsor, Y&B, family owned and operated since 1912, the bank that makes things happen. Remember, you can go pre-qualify online at www.ynbok.com. That's www.ynbok.com. That's to get any kind of loan. And then remember, we're going to be going out and getting minority businesses. We're going to be doing remotes in minority and black and minority owned businesses, and Y&B is going to be our sponsor for those when we're going out for all of our different remotes that we will be doing on that. Like this yesterday, we were at George's. Next week, I'll let you know where we're going to be. I kind of know where we're going to be, but I'm just going to leave it up for secret. And then, like I said, we will be adding speakers and different things like that. So that people can actually hear what we're talking about, hear what I'm talking about on the air. Then we're going to be adding more and more special guests when we do our remotes. Going to have guys come out, do our remotes. Like I said, I want to get Coach Stoops, if I can get him on remote, maybe to get him come in and get some that rock and roll tequila. I'm not going to drink tequila on the air. You know I do like tequila, but I'm not going to drink tequila on the air. So anyway, I want to thank all my sponsors. I want to thank everybody for joining me today on the Unpopular Hour Women Only Wednesday show. Once again, I'm your host, Matt Clark. Everybody be safe out there today. Peace out.